Mom! Mom! See, Grandma is sitting there. She's there. Calm down, son. You will have to understand that Grandma is no more there. You must be seeing a reflection. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. It was a usual day in the life of 10-year-old me. My mom came and woke me up as my tuition teacher was about to come. But wait, there was something unusual. Why was I not sleeping near my grandma? Mom told me that Grandma is not well today. After some time, when I was about to go to school, I went to my grandma and told her to wish me goodbye from the window. That was our usual routine. When I would go to school, my grandma would sit near the window, watch me strolling down the lane, till the time I would convert to the size of an ant, and she would wish me goodbye. But Mom told me that this would not happen today, because Grandma needs to take rest. Why? Throughout the day I was just wondering what had happened to Grandma. Why can't she wish me goodbye from the window? When I came back from school, I saw that my grandma was not there at home. My mom was also not there. My sisters were at my neighbor's place, who told me that Grandma is in the hospital. I want to meet Grandma right now. Take me to the hospital. My neighbor explained that kids are not allowed in the hospital. And this made me wonder even more. What are they doing with my grandma? Why are kids not allowed in the hospital? Days went by. My parents would go to the hospital and come back. My grandma would not come back. Some of my relatives also came to my home. They would have serious discussions in the night. Many of them would even cry. But the little me was not able to understand what was going on. I knew just one thing, that I wanted to meet my grandma. I would tell my mom the same thing every day. Take me to the hospital. I want to meet Grandma. And she would repeat the same words of my neighbor. Kids are not allowed in the hospital. But one day, when she came back from the hospital, she told me, we are going to take you to the hospital tomorrow. Grandma wants to meet you. Grandma had told my dad, Manama Gutiya Vichayo Dikha De ek baar, which roughly translates to, let me see the face of my dear child once. And I cannot tell you what this statement meant to me. Today again, my relatives were having serious discussions, and most of them were crying today. But I was dancing in joy because I was going to meet my grandma. Little did I know that that was going to be the last wish of her life. The next day, when I went to the hospital, I was shocked to see my grandma. They had put needles and bottles and syringes into her body. I shouted out loud, remove all these! What have you done to Grandma? Take her home! But nobody could bother. And my grandma, she just smiled looking at me. The next day, they brought Grandma home. But I don't know why she was sleeping. Usually, she would wake up with the slightest of noise. But today, people were sitting around her, crying at the top of their voices. But she was sleeping. After some time, my dad and my uncle tied her to a ladder, lifted her up, carrying her to a strange place. And this episode of strangeness didn't end there. I'm telling you, you won't even believe what happened next. My uncle put grandma on fire. I was shocked. I shouted out loud at the top of my voice, cursing him, "What kind of a son are you? How can you put your own mother on fire? And what are all of you doing here? Stop him!" Nobody was bothered. When we came back home from that strange place, my body was burning with fever. My parents took me from one doctor to another, but the fever won't go away. After almost a month, they took me to an enchanter. He chanted some mantras and somehow the fever was gone. But I could still see what my mom called the reflections of grandma. As I grew up, I have understood what death is. But till now, I have never been able to understand the death of my grandmother. It has been more than 13 years, but we still call that room Maro Room, Grandma's room. And whenever I enter that room, I feel her presence. The entire world might tell me that grandma is no more there. But I know my grandma is there with me. She is there. Nobody can take my grandma from me.